This is the medieval market town of Arundel. It's known for one of England's largest complete inhabited castles, which can be dated back nearly 1,000 years to the 11th century. This medieval town can be seen from miles away, even at night, by its breathtaking cathedral, which stands out lit up in the landscape. So come and join us as we take you on another adventure and show you all about the hidden secrets of this old medieval city, with networks of underground secret passageways running under the town and right up to the castle, along with rivers and lakes with water what looks clean enough to drink, and even hidden underground bunkers which have been completely forgotten about sitting in the landscape. Now let's get into today's adventure. Arundel began as a Saxon village. It was suggested that the name was from the Norman French word for swallow, Arundel. However, a more likely explanation is that the corruption of Saxon words Arundel, meaning Horehound Valley, which horehound is a type of plant that used to grow here. It was by the time of the Domesday Book, way back in 1086, that Arundel had become a flourishing market town. However, it would seem to us in nowadays, with only a population of a few hundred, would be very small. In those days, that was a very busy town. Now it comes to no surprise that there's been hundreds of different ghost sightings all reported here over the years.
Look at the size of this church. Massive old church.
This is the Cathedral of Our Lady in St Philip Howard. It's built astride a hill where the cathedral sits majestically overlooking the ancient town of Arundel. It stands out as an inspiring landmark right over West Sussex.
Look at the size of this place. Huge archways.
Now let's get our drone up in the air and show you some of the amazing work that went into building this old Victorian style Gothic cathedral.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all.
Built on the crown of the hill where the South Downs meet the outskirts of the ancient town of Arundel, and dominating its western aspect, Arundel Cathedral is a landmark in the countryside of West Sussex. This great church owes its existence to the generosity and foresight of Henry, the 15th Duke of Norfolk. Building this masterpiece was not without its difficulties due to its foundations of sinking concrete supports would sink as deep as 57 feet, and in some aspects it was said to be impossible to carry out. However, even with its setbacks, the church of brick-clad and Bath stone was completed in as little as 3 years and opened on the 1st of July in 1873. As we slowly make our way round to the main high street of this old market town, we're greeted at the top of the hill with just one of many entrances into Arundel Castle. We're going to give you a lot more information on the castle a bit later on in the video, but for now let's tell you about some of the ghost sightings and the old reports of what's happened all around this old medieval city over the years. Over the years, this old market town of Arundel has been known for many different ghost sightings, along with unsolved murders with bodies found in the woodlands, and even poltergeist activity in some of its local hotels.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
The town is known for tons of different ghost sightings, all very similar but many years apart. The castle itself has many tales of the spirit of a white dog what likes to roam the grounds, along with an old owl what can be spotted in one of the castle windows and is normally seen just before a death. And that's not to mention all the poltergeist reports from inside the Norfolk Arms.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
There has been many reports from the Norfolk Arms of a man peering in the window on the second floor from outside, and the phones ringing and ringing late at night for them to be answered and nobody be there. There's even multiple reports of residents in the local banks while they're in the queue feeling breathing shudder right down the backs of their neck, and even the security guards are so worried they patrol in pairs.
Bruh.
This is Arundel Castle, where the story begins in 1067 and continues to the present day. Many of the original features such as the Norman Keep, the medieval gatehouse and the Barbican still survive. Between the 1870s to 1890, the gatehouse was almost completely rebuilt, and the magnificent architecture in Gothic style is considered to be one of the great works of Victorian England. The castle itself holds many hidden secrets, one of which is networks of underground tunnels which run off under the castle. Most of these tunnels have been sealed off and are kept highly secret. However, as you can see here in the image, they've been carved into the chalk face and would have been used by servants back in the day to get around the castle easier. As far as we're aware, there's one tunnel which leads off out of the castle grounds and under the town, which runs for quite a long way. This particular tunnel bends in the same direction as the river and may have been used by smugglers back in the day. However, when the castle was under siege, the last thing they would have wanted was enemies to be able to access the castle from an underground entrance. So this tunnel in particular probably would have been blocked off and sealed up. Now, believe it or not, but back in World War I and World War II, Arundel was a crucial defensive point, and there still remains all around this old market town and in the surrounding areas what can still be seen today. Just like here, this small window which is above the shop would have once been used as an anti-tank rifle post looking out for the defence over the bridge. And that's not all. Just behind the main entrance of this castle gate there used to once be an old gun emplacement just to the right, which you'll see here in this old image, along with many other gun emplacements and secret auxiliary unit bunkers in the surrounding areas which are still in place today. Now let's go in search and see just what we can find of what remains today.
Now I believe we want to take this one down, if I remember rightly on the maps. Looks just like a bridge though, doesn't it?
This is just the remains of one of the old anti-aircraft gun emplacements what are still in place today.
Look, and it would have looked out here.
Now let's take you guys back to Swanbourne Lake as we go in search for some of the top secret underground bunkers, or what were also referred to as auxiliary units of the Home Guard. They would have been built back in the Second World War with the aim of using irregular warfare in response to the possible invasion.
Look how clear this water is, guys, can you see?
This sparkling chalk stream is part of the overflow from Arundel's Swanbourne Lake. It is referred to as Mill Stream, and the whole area is packed full of plants with wildlife such as local exotic water birds, water rats, voles, bats and even dragonflies can be spotted. This section of the stream makes a brilliant summer's day walk and just see what types of wildlife you can spot. Now let's make our way over the bridge and off up to Swanbourne Lake. Swanbourne Lake lies in the lower part of a deep steep-sided valley that has been eroded into the chalk bedrock. The valley starts at the crest of the downs and ends in the floodplain on the River Arun. It was reported back in 1066 that this mill pond would have powered an old water mill, which then would have supplied the castle chaplain, the priory and even the leper hospital of St James, which was located in the area known as Park Bottom. Swanbourne Lake is packed full of loads of forgotten history, from many events what were hosted here, from firework displays to lanterns lighting up the whole sky. And that's not all. Back in 1940 at 6:30 AM on the 13th of August, a German World War II plane was shot down by the Hurricanes based at Tangmere whilst en route to bomb Farnborough. The plane smashed through some beech trees on the west side of the lake, ripping itself apart as it careered down the steep embankment. The engines were torn off as it hit the footpath, while the remains of the airframe continued into the far end of the lake. The damaged trees from that accident could still be seen until the 1987 storm. However, as beautiful as the lake may be, it still has a bit of a dark past. Many years ago in this patch of trees, a body of a young lady was found buried here, and the murder is still unsolved to this day. Now let's take you down to the lake on foot as we go in search for the remains of this top secret underground auxiliary bunker from the Home Guard.
Isn't it lovely and clean? It's all the chalk, isn't it? And the fog coming off of the water.
This small bridge area here is part of the overflow what feeds into the mill stream. And just over in the distance you can see the old pumping house what remains today.
So in the summer you can rent boats out and row out over here, over the lake.
As we slowly started to make our way round Swanbourne Lake in search for this secret bunker, we stumbled across this old boat shack hidden away in the bushes.
Look at this, guys.
As we slowly made our way inside this old shack, which looked like it had been here for years and years, we noticed hundreds and hundreds of different people's names, all written, all inside, all over the walls and the beams, which would have once been visitors to Swanbourne Lake.
In people's names. And it always has been for years and years and years. I know old people what used to come here and write their names on this old boat shack. At the top of that is High Horn Tower, which is the other way round without having to climb it.
If you want to see the full episode on High Horn Tower, then be sure to click the link in the description at the end of the video, and that will take you straight to the full episode with all the information of what movies and everything this tower was once used for. When the plane came down back in World War II, there were 4 crew members altogether, and 2 of which bailed out who became prisoners of war. The parachute of one of the men was caught on the tail, dragging him to his death, while the others were found mortally wounded, sitting in a tree near Worthing. There were portions of the plane which could be seen from the lake when the lake dried out in 1989, and 2 airmen who died were buried in St Andrew's Churchyard at Tangmere. To this day, Swanbourne Lake is enjoyed every day of the year by thousands of visitors and locals alike for its beauty, and by taking one of the public footpaths off the main lake, you can enjoy the absolute tranquility immersed in nature. Now let's take you off trail and through this huge valley as we go in search for another auxiliary bunker of the Home Guard. The auxiliary units would fight as uniformed officers during the military campaign in the event of an invasion. All auxiliary units would disappear into the operational bases and would not maintain contact with the local Home Guard commanders. They were to be wholly unaware of their existence. Although the auxiliaries were Home Guard volunteers and wore Home Guard uniforms, they would not participate in the conventional phase of their town's defence, but would be activated once the local Home Guard defence had been ended to inflict maximum mayhem and disruption over a further brief but violent period. They were not envisionised as a continuing resistance force against long-term occupation. The secrecy surrounding the insurgent squads meant that members had no military status, no uniforms, and there were very few official records of their activities.
How strange. You can see how the tree roots have just gone right up, and the trees come out on top.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, be sure to tell us in the comments and like and subscribe. I'm Leg, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on our next adventure.